Should the wicked be granted mercy? It's only God that can be merciful. And that's why we're currently in episode 51 of The Danger Signs We Ignore, also known as Another Was Mistaken Marriage. Can you see how Kizito's mother is looking up, wondering, and saying that nobody can go scot free because they've killed her son? Please go ahead and give a like to this video and also subscribe to the channel because we need to look at this very critically. She is already saying that nobody can kill her son and go scot-free. Do you think that is true? We will see that these people who did this in self-defense will go scot-free. Now we see Angel come into her room like as if she's a stranger. And as she entered, she started hearing voices. She heard the voice of Kizito telling her she will never be a model, and she telling him back that she will not change and forever remain a model. She got a slap for that. That was the first day of their marriage, the day after they got married. And she was just thinking about it because it was giving her the creeps. It looks like this house is haunted. But she kept on thinking and remembering all the pain, all the assaults, all the beatings that she got from Kizito. And she just started wondering and crying, reminiscing in pain. See how she put her hand on her head and remembering how he told her she will never go back to being a model. And now all she could do was just reminisce, think about it, and now begin to cry. Because she's wondering how can she go out there to warn people not to make the wrong choices in their marriage. She fell to the floor and just started crying. Started crying helplessly. Started crying without anybody to, console her and to comfort her because this is really painful to her. She has wasted a big part of her life and now she has been roped into an assault, something she did in self-defense. Do you think she will ever be able to clear herself from it? Well, here we see Madame Kizito's mama here with her barrister discussing about how to implicate Angel because she is not going to get a no for an answer. She said she wants Angel to suffer for everything she has done to her because Angel fought in self-defense and now she's telling the barrister to dig deep, to go beyond his brief, to make sure that they're able to connect Angel with the death of her son. The man now looked at her and said, are you ready to go through all of this? She said, yes, she is. She is going to fight tooth and nail. The guy said, are you sure? Your son has not even been buried. She said she doesn't want to care. She wants justice. And I'm like, justice? Are you asking for justice? Your son was a menace. He was the one that was the monster. He was the one that was giving people problems. He now said, okay, if that's what you want to do, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of connections because it's like this man has diagnosed the case and has seen that it's going to be a tough one. She said she is ready to pay. She said, are you sure? He said, oh, yes. At this point, she is ready to pay. And well, the guy said, is she ready to dig out all the can of worms? She said that she doesn't have anything to lose. She's lost her son. So what else? As long as she wants Angel to suffer for this. She wants Angel to have sorrow for her breakfast, sorrow for her lunch, and sorrow for her dinner. Because before she gives her son a befitting burial, she wants to give those people who brought Kizito down a befitting response. The man is thinking and said, okay, if that's what you want, you will have to pay. She said, yes, she wants Angel to suffer. She wants Angel to cringe. She wants Angel to fall to her knees. He said, all right. He is going to do everything he can because, as he said, he knows that even the devil, if he has a lot of money, might be able to see God. That is a very bad taste quote, but he said, money is going to work on that behalf. Can you see what this man is saying? That means he has seen that this case is really precarious. This case may not be won. So he has already told her ahead of time she must be willing to cough out a lot of money. And of course, as you can see, she is not ready to retreat. She's not ready to surrender. She wants him to go ahead. Now we see Angel looking so beautiful, looking colorful in her mother's house. And the mother say, no, she looks so beautiful, even though she's been through a lot. Even Amma is looking good. She's back. She's well. She's back from her state of depression, and she's back. She's back in her right senses, and she's saying she's so happy to see her. And she said, yes, she's so happy to see her too, that she's happy that her cousin is out of that state of depression, state of regression, state of backwardness, and back to life. And they are so happy. But she said it's time for her to fight back. And her mother said, what do you mean? What do you mean by fighting back? She said, well, she has to make every one of them leave this house and move in with her into her matrimonial home. The mother was like, what? Oma was like, what? Jeff was like, what? She said, yes, she has to do that because Kizito's mom is going to make living in that place hell for her if she doesn't force her out. She wants to force her out. And the mother said, but why can't you wait till your husband is buried? She said she doesn't care about that. All she cares about is she wants to get her life back, and she wants to force Kizito's mother out of that place. And the only way to do that is to make sure that they all come as a formidable force and force her out of that place. And Mama said, oh, what you're about to do is going to be tough, because you see, Madame Uchechi knows you are the one that killed her son, and she's not going to give up without fighting. And she said, well, she knows that, and that's the reason why she wants to fight back. And then Jeff now looked at her and said, but remember that George is in the corner waiting for you. She said, well, she doesn't want to think about anything to do with tying herself to any man after all she's been through. She's been through a lot. At this point, she doesn't want to consider anything about relationship or marriage. And then Amma looked at her and she now said, look, as far as she's concerned, she wants to live her life. She wants to get out of this predicament and find herself. And the mother was still listening. She said, look, at this point, she doesn't want to be tied to any apron string of any man. She wants to be free, free as a bird. And Amma said, but remember that George has been supportive. He's been there. He's been doing everything to get you out of this. So are you going to use this to pay him back? Are you going to say no to his gestures? She said, well, at this point, she's going to say no. It's going to be worse if she tries to think about that. She doesn't want to think about anything concerning marriage. She just wants to get herself. She doesn't want to think about that. What do you think? Do you think she should pay George back like this? I mean, Kizito is ended. The next thing is for her to get married to George. But she's saying no. She now said, well, it's going to be tough and rough, but we'll see how Madame Uchechi is not going to fight back. She's definitely going to fight back. Then Jeff now said, well, we are there to support you. Whatever you want us to do, we will support you. We are family. We will stand as a team. Is it to force Madame Uchechi out? We are here. Now we see Madame Uchechi is in her room, coming back to the room with the documents of her son. She's clinging to it like as if she's holding her baby. She's just thinking and crying and wondering when she's ever going to see her son again. Her son, who is the menace, was the menace, and is always the one that has brought pain and shame to people. She is crying about that. She now brought out his passport, looked at his face, kissed his face, and held it close to her heart, just reminiscing and thinking. Then she dug her hand back into that place, brought out his phone, probably to see whether she could see any video or picture of his. But to her utmost surprise, she saw the video. The video, remember the nude video that he has been threatening Angel with? She saw it. She saw it and she opened her eyes and said, yes, light bulb moment. She's going to use this to bring Angel down. And that means that in episode 52, we're going to see the scandal revealed. We're going to see her bring Angel down with this particular nude videos. And that means Angel, everything she stands for, her reputation will be ruined. That means she's going to start bringing Angel down. Do you think that's going to happen? Or do you think anybody can intercept this? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Here we see Angel coming down the stairs. And she went to open the door and she did what? Who did she see? She saw George. George came to see her. He didn't even hug her. What's going on here? He entered into the house looking round and sat on the chair like the king that he is. And of course, Angel was wondering, why are you here? What are you here for? And when she asked, he was like, what? Can't he come and visit her again? Why is she asking him this kind of horrible question? She said, but you didn't inform me before you came. He now said, look, what are you still doing here? We both know that Mr. Kizito is gone. What are you still doing here? You need to be out of this place. She now said, where do you want her to be? Where do you want her to leave? He now said, but at least you can leave this place, go to your mama's place, or come to my place. And she was like, what? How dare you say that? Her husband just died less than a week ago. And you're saying she should start coming running into his hands? How is that going to implicate her? Can't he know, or doesn't he know that she's a brand? And that she needs to think twice before taking any action? He was like, what are you saying? Kizito is gone. The marriage is ended. All you have to do right now is to come and get out of this place and find a life and probably come marry me or something. She was like, what are you saying? She can't do that. She needs to stay here. This is her house. Legally, she's married and this is her house. So even though Kizito is gone, this is her house. She's not going anywhere. What do you want her to do? He now tried to grab her hand, but she pulled her hand away. He now said, look, but wait a second. Are you telling me that you want to mourn Kizito? We both know that Kizito is not worth mourning. He's a bad person. He was never there for you. She said she knows, but at least regardless of that, she still needs to mourn him. She said that he is the father of her unborn child, so he needs to be mourned whichever way, even though she's not going to mourn him like a loving husband, but she still needs to mourn him regardless. The guy was like, what are you saying? She just shut him up and said, no, all that you're saying cannot work. She still has to remain here as the legally married wife until all things are done. Because with what he's saying, he just wants to make things worse. He was like, no. This was like an anticlimax. He couldn't believe that the person he loved, that he thought would be so excited to jump into his arms, is doing it. He tried to hold her again, and then she just had to get up and went to stand near the staircase and looking stern. And he knew that, well, he has taken his welcome behind the handshake. So he needed to get up and go. He knew his heart was sunken. He was heartbroken, but he had no choice but to leave. And of course, she followed him with her eyes and eventually went upstairs. Now, do you think this kind of treatment is good to George? George, who was there, who fought for you, who did everything, and then you're now giving him this kind of cold treatment? What do you think about this? Do you think she's being cruel? What do you think? I think she's just being in the right way. She doesn't want anybody to begin to implicate her and make her look like as if, oh, she planned it. Yes, she did everything she did in self-defense, but that doesn't mean she has to elope with a lover. Anyway, we'll see what happens in episode 52. Now we come to Madame Flora's house, and there was a knock, an intense knock on the door, and she came like, come on, open the door. The door is not locked. Who's that knocking? Go ahead and open the door. Then the door opened gently and slightly. She looked at the person, and who did she see? Oh my God, Kizito's mother with an indignant face. Wow. Is she here to fight? Is she here to post charges? Is she here to deal with her? What is she going to do? We will find out in episode 52. Now, let me tell you something. The race just started. The battle has just begun. And we are going to see that it's only going to get hotter and intense going from now. Thank you once again for watching. If you haven't given a like or subscribe, go ahead and do so. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.